Welcome, everyone, to week one of Money Talks with Padma. We are truly excited to begin this beautiful and important journey together as moms. So many women manage homes, children, careers, caregiving, major life decisions every single day. Yet many of us were never formally taught about money, investing, financial planning, or long term wealth building. My name is Vidya Ramachandran, and today we are starting a series with Padma Jambunath. And this series is meant to create a safe, simple, and empowering space for women to learn, ask questions, and slowly build confidence with money without pressure, without judgments, or sales pitches. We are incredibly grateful to have Padma Jambunath leading us in this series. And Padma is a vice president at Raymond James and IIM and Harvard Alumna, and someone who has always generously guided and supported our Cleveland Moms for Moms community. A quick few housekeeping tips before we begin. Please keep yourselves muted during this whole session. Question and answers will be 15 minutes before the end of the session, after the first 45 minutes, that is. Please avoid repeating questions so everybody gets a chance. All questions need to be entered into the chat box, and the questions will be asked by Babita. She will make sure that these are not repeat questions and she will read out your questions to Padma, which Padma will then answer. This session is being recorded for moms who are unable to attend. A small thank you as well to our lovely admins Babita Bhandari, Bhanumati Maheshwar, and Madhavi Kasturi for helping us to keep today's session organized and running smoothly. Thank you, everyone. Let's learn, grow, and empower one another. Um, yes, now on to you, Padma. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So, I'm actually very happy to do this for all of you because I feel this is very important for all the women, whether in whichever stage you are, to understand the whole gambit of your own finances. So the mission today is like enlighten, empower, enrich. That's always been the case. So we want to empower you, try and enlighten you, and enrich you, of course. With small things that probably I know some things you will take away from today. So I'm really starting it at the foundation level. So I really think I want you to think about when you first moved to the US. So back in India, maybe I'm tailoring this to us because it's all Indian moms. Our parents or in-laws handle the big decisions. We were never part of it. The financial decisions, especially, we were never part of it. At least I wasn't. So maybe there was a joint family system where money was pooled, managed collectively. But here, it's just you and your husband and your children. And often, you're the one running the household budget, you're paying the bills, you are managing the grocery money. But nobody sat us down and taught us how the American financial system actually works. So that's what today is about. Today, we are going to make sure every woman, every mom in this call feels confident, or who are not in the call too, our entire community feels confident about understanding where your family's money goes and how you make it grow. That's the goal today. So I just want to set the stage for this. So here we have, before we get into the mechanics of money, let's talk about why this conversation matters specifically for women. First, you can see it on the screen. I'm sure everyone can see the presentation. I'm kind of, I just see the presentation and myself. So I'm not able to kind of visualize whether everybody is able to see the presentation, but I'm sure some of the admins will tell me if it is
Yes, we
not
are able
visible.
to see. We are able to see.
Okay. So before we get into that, let's talk about why this conversation is for women. First, women live 5 to 7 years longer than men on average. According to our World in Data, the global life expectancy gap is about, 5 to 7 years. In the US, Harvard research actually told this, the latest research showed, when I was just looking at it, it shows that it is 8 years. So that is something that's going to come out soon. So we have an 8 year gap. That means women need their money to it has to last longer. It has more years of retirement, more years of healthcare cost, and more years of living expenses. That's how you want to look at it. Just for a perspective, I want each one of you to think about, if you are working for 30 years, you're going to live another 30 years with that money. So if whatever you're earning, make it for 2 years, because that's the whole concept. But yeah, the second thing is 67% of the women provide caregiving. We all know that. We have to balance career and caregiving responsibility. This also is all. This is not just for Indian women. Indian women all the more, but it is the US women also, because it is from the 2024 ARC workforce report, where they report that all the women at that age are trying to give caregiving more than the men. So women are disproportionately the ones who will step up to care for aging parents, and they will be doing it while they are working. So that creates a financial strain for them from both sides. They have to work and also take care of that. And the third thing is the career breaks can reduce lifetime earnings by 40% or more. That which means that if you have a career break, cost for a woman on average is about 113,000 in lifetime, 131,000 in lifetime earnings. And imagine that compounding and all that. So we'll talk about all those things, but these are things that I feel is very, very important, because these three factors is is something that comes to a conclusion that understanding money is not optional, it is essential for women. And the finance system was designed with these realities in mind. So we have to be really intentional. If we are not intentional, then we will come at a stage where we have to become intentional, but we are not in a state of mind to observe and learn all these things. So we have to be intentional about building knowledge and confidence around money. So think about sandwich generation, right? Reality many of us live. We all live that generation. You're raising kids here in Cleveland, paying for their Kumon, paying for their dance class, paying the school activities, and at the same time, you're sending money back to India sometime, like most of us do, right? Most of them send money back to India. So you're financially supporting two households. It happens most of the times, especially for us, for a sandwich generation. So that caregiving stat that you're seeing 67% hits differently when you are caregiving across the ocean. So that also you need to keep in mind. And that career break stat 40%, we are like immigrants. So we have that 40% life earnings for us is even higher. This is for the average American women, or maybe our kids that grow up here. For the women, it is. But if you really look at it, for us, it is even much higher. Maybe you left your career in India, you were an engineer, you were a doctor, you were a teacher, you came back, you started over. I did that. I left, and I also came back very, very late in life, so late 30s. So come back again, go to work, go to study, find your feet, and do all these things. You lose a lot of time. So 40% is really very, very small when I'm saying in comparison to all the American women at large. Okay, so I really want to, let's reframe this, how we think about money. Okay, money itself has no feeling. It doesn't judge you. You're the one who's judging yourself. So it doesn't know if you spend too much on your shoes you're wearing, or the bag you're carrying, or not enough you have in your bank account. Money doesn't know all those things. We are the ones who attach guilt to that, fear to that, even shame to that. We are doing that on our own. So think of money like a hammer. That's how I want you to think. It doesn't care what you build with it. It's just a tool. So money is just a tool. When you think about it that way, when we remove the emotion, something powerful will happen. So we make better decisions. When you're not emotional, you always tend to make better decisions. We will stop panic buying. we will stop avoiding our bank accounts. We don't have to, we will stop saying, I'm just not a money person. I've heard this from so many people. Or, from my community, from here, many of you have told me, I'm just not a money person. We look at our finances the way mechanic looked at an engine. So you have to look at it that way, calmly, objectively, and with curiosity, so that you learn that the goal is to budget without guilt, save without fear, and spend without shame. That is my goal here. I really want you all to have this goal too. You have to budget without guilt, you have to save without fear, and you have to spend without shame. That's where I expect all of you to walk with. So, and when you treat money as a neutral tool, you gain freedom. You really feel liberated. The freedom to make choices which is aligned with your values. That might mean that you're staying home with kids, or you're starting a new business, or you're leaving a job that doesn't serve you well. You're really thinking like you're not happy in the job that you're doing, so, or supporting a cause you believe in. These things are important. It has to align with your value. The moment you start thinking of money as a tool, this all will fall in place and it will happen. So when you this is not just about you. Building wealth creates generational opportunities. So if you're doing this, if you have thought of money and started doing it this way, you will transfer this to your kids. Your kids are going to do the same way you do when with the money what you do. So when you understand how money works, you can help your children start from a very very strong place. We didn't have that when we came to America. We have to figure it out ourselves. But now when you all learn this, you probably will tell your kids and they will start 10 steps ahead of us. So you can fund their education, you can help them avoid all kind of debt traps, and you can model really good healthy financial habits. So wealth that gets passed forward, it actually changes the entire trajectory of the generation, that of families and generation. And this is research. I'm not just saying it. Once you learn and once you inculcate it, you will see that the generation will change. Your next generation will change, and they'll think differently about money. So finally, what the true security is, knowing you can handle what comes next. It's not about a magic number in your bank account. It's the confidence that comes with having a plan. Just have a plan. When you really understand that, that there is a plan behind the money, the anxiety will just drop. And you stop lying awake worrying about, bills or unexpected expenses. That kind of peace of mind, that's something I think every woman deserves. Because in my experience, I have done the full gambit of finance for the last 30 years, and the last 13 years I've been doing this wealth management and doing personal finances other than the institutional finance. And I see that people come to a stage where something happens, and then their state of mind is not in a position to actually learn all these things. So it becomes really difficult. I have gone through this. This is 20% of my clientele. So when I talk about it, it's sad, because when we want to talk to them, they are happy. They say, oh, my husband is taking care of it, my somebody else is taking care of it. But when something happens to that husband or somebody who's doing it, then you are not in a situation to actually absorb things the way you want to. So I feel this will empower you, this will enrich you, enlighten you, and you're going to look at money differently. That is the thing that I want each one of you to look at. So if you really think about where we come from, our mothers, our grandmothers already understood this concept. It's not new to us as a concept, right? They just used different tools. We are using different tools. Think about the gold bangles our moms used to buy for whatever that Akshay Tritiya or Danteras or whatever. Why are they doing that? It's not that you know it is not that they want to there is a concept to that, but still that is also a financial planning. They think that we start doing this and this is a tool, we just buy and keep it every year, it just adds. So it's a financial planning. There was some kind of a storing value for them. They didn't call it asset allocation. but that's exactly what it was. We come from a culture that really understands money as a tool. That's all I'm trying to say. So we just need to translate that wisdom into the American financial system. So are we doing that? What our grandparents and parents did is very important for us. How many of us send money to India every month? Some people do. I know a lot of moms and a lot of families who have told me that they send money every month. Maybe it's for your parents, or it's for your in-laws, or for your siblings' education, whatever that is. But that feels like an obligation, right? When you think about it, you really feel that, and culturally it is an obligation, and it's also a financial decision. So when you treat money as a tool, you can still honor that commitment, but do it intentionally. You budget for it. You use the best transfer rates. You set a number that works for your family here and your family there. That's not being selfish. That's just being smart with your tool, which is the money. Okay, so the next slide we're going to talk about. So the first thing is, let's talk about inflation, because this is the thing that quietly works, against every family. How groceries feel really expensive every year. I don't have to say that. You all do grocery shopping, you know how it is every year. That's inflation. Gas, school supplies, your dance lessons, your daycare, the price keep on creeping up. You're not imagining it. It is the same dollar you earned last year, literally buys less today. And that is for every single thing. You cannot even tell me something that is the same that you paid last year, because everything has moved on and it has become more, but probably the salary that you're getting is the same. So here's the part that catches people off guard. Every single time when I talk, this is what I find. Money sitting in a savings account feels safe. It's actually losing money. It's at around, say, only 3% inflation. For the last 2 3 years, we are talking about 5 to 6% inflation. Let me just talk only about 3% inflation, because that has been the average inflation rate in the last probably 30 years in the US. Only in the last 5 6 years it has changed a little bit. So but it's around 3% inflation. If you have $100 today, it'll only buy $74 worth of stuff in 10 years for you, and $55 worth in 20 years. So let me put it in perspective for you. So if you have $100,000 in bank today, in 10 years, that will become 74,000 if you did nothing with that money. And it'll become 55,000 in 20 years. That's something that I want you to carry as a concept for inflation. So there's nothing, that's why doing nothing with your money is still a decision you're making. You're making the decision of not doing anything with the money in the bank. So every year you wait, inflation is quietly making that decision for you. You're not deciding, but you have given the decision power to the inflation. So it's making it for you. What is the good news? You understand this, you can start making moves that keep your money working as hard as you do. So that's a concept that you should know, that you don't want to put money in the bank and just sit there because it's just losing money. Let's make this real. So how many of you shop at Patel Brothers, or the India groceries? The 5 years ago, probably a basmati bag, pound of basmati bag was like $15. Now you pay easily $22 or $25. Everything like that, haldi, atta, whatever you buy, everything has gone up. I'm not making it up. You all know it, and that's why I just want you to really think about how inflation is eroding in your daily life. So and think about your kids' activities. Even those have gone up. So you're just paying more for the same dal chawal that you eat every night. You're doing nothing, but you're just paying more. So even simple things like Bharatanatyam classes or anything you see, probably I paid $80 or 80 to $90. Now it is $100 to $120. So that is how it has all gone up. So the rupee you sent home, what you're sending to India, if at all some of you are doing, that buys less too, because inflation is a global concept. So they also are getting less value out of what you're sending to them. So that is something that, that one or two concepts, 2 or 3 concepts, something that I want to talk about, so everybody goes with it, so we can combine all these things into money. So the next thing is compounding. I just want to say this is one of my favorite slides. Always, it has been my favorite slide. When I talk to anyone about money, compounding is my favorite slide because it's the closest thing to a superpower in personal finance. There's nothing else that I can say has that kind of power, and it's available to everyone. It's free. It's not like you have to work for it. Compounding is there in everybody. How it works, when you invest money, you earn returns, and those returns start earning returns. That's the basic concept. Your money makes money, and then that money makes money. So it creates a snowball effect over time. Small at first, but it picks up speed in a way that feels most unbelievable. If you really look at the numbers, that's how you look at this chart now. This is a part that really drives it, right? The solid line is someone who's investing $500 a month at the age of 25. I don't know if you're able to see the chart, because I have a
We
feeling
are.
that, yeah, you can see the numbers too there, right?
Yep.
So it's at the age of 25, but they have stopped at the age of 35. Okay, so the solid line is that they have started investing $500 at the age of 25, and they stopped at the age of 35. They put 30, they put only 10 years, $500 every month. That another line which you see down, the dotted line, is like someone who waits until 35 years old and invests 500 every single month for 30 years until 65 they are. Look at that. It's I'm not making up, this is real math. So one started at 25, stopped at 35, only 60,000 K was invested. Another started at 35, invested until 65, and 180,000 funds were put into that. But what happened? The early starter put in only 60 versus the second starter who put 180, but at age 65, look at them. The early starter has $753,000 and the late starter has 660,000. We are just having a linear return of 7%, which is not normal, because sometimes it will be 14% in the last 5 years. You all must have made like 20-30%. So it depends, right? But I'm just keeping it minimum at a 7%, which is something that you will get even in a bad market if you have stuck with bonds or whatever, that we can talk about. So the point that I'm trying to make is it's not a magic, it's just mathematics. Consistent contributions plus time plus market return equals your wealth building. That's all it is. So the formula is the same for everyone. So the goal is start early. Whenever you think that you are ready to put, it doesn't matter. I have just put 500. You can put 200. You can put 100. Whatever. But it matters because this compounding has a big snowball effect that really makes you wonder that oh, is it so much? So don't look at it. That is the power of starting early. That's why we say the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. Every month you wait is compounding time that you can never get back. You don't need a perfect amount. You just need to start. So I don't know if as children growing up in India, we are a generation that grew up in India. You should know about SIPs and all that, systematic investment plans that our parents used to be part of, right? They used to invest. It's the same concept here. They used to do it in some kind of a mutual fund back home. Here, it's the same concept. You set up an automatic $200 or $500 a month into an index fund and don't touch it. Your cousin in Bangalore who started that, 5,000 rupees or whatever that is, 10 years ago, she's probably sitting on 12 to 15 lakhs now, right? So the American version is the same math. So if you put it, the compounding is the same everywhere. So that's the same for your 529 actually. So this will really hit home for you, because 529 college savings plans, if you open when your baby is born and you put just 200 a month, by the time they're 18, you have over 80 to 85,000 for college, right? But if you wait until they are 10 and start the same $200 a month, you will only have $20 to $25,000. There's a catch there. In the later you start, and now you have a purpose for that money, right? That's what we're talking about here. Money is a tool. So how do we use that tool? We come back to that, right? That's the whole concept of this. Money is a tool. We need to know what that money is for. That's very, very important. Same monthly amount, same family started, like, whichever started earlier will always get more money. So that's the second takeaway. Starting something really, really early is a powerful thing to do. That's the most powerful thing we can all do. So that is something that I want to leave you with. And then the next one is, so now, we talked about inflation quietly eating away all the money, and we know compounding, which is like it's building wealth over time. The natural next question, probably in all of your mind, is okay, where does my money actually go? What's happening to that? How do I organize? Is some of it working for me long term while I still handle life right now? So these are the questions you all will have when you think about, oh my God, she said money is a tool. She said money is inflation is eroding my money. She also said that compounding my money will grow. Now, how do I organize it so that it will work for me? That's where the bucket system comes in. I want you to think about every dollar you earn has a job. Think of it that way. Every single dollar that you earn has a job to do. And the simplest way to think about it is the three buckets. Bucket one, spend now. This is your day to day life: groceries, gas, school fees, things, the stuff that keeps your household running. And then this money flows in and out constantly. Okay, it is not meant to grow, it is meant to be used. So the spend now bucket is for money to be used. The bucket two is save short term. This is your emergency fund, vacation savings, maybe a car repair fund. It's money you will need in the next 1 to 3 years. Think about it that way. It should be accessible, but separate from your spending money so you don't accidentally dip into it. So this is like short term. Bucket three is grow long term. So this is retirement, college funds, building generational wealth, your future goals, the money that needs time and compounding to do the job. The money, this is where we just talked about, right? On the last slide, actually happens. So this whole compounding thing happens in the grow long term. The biggest mistake that I see people make is putting long term money in short term buckets. It always happens. Your retirement savings should not be sitting in a checking account. It should not be sitting in short term investments. And your grocery money shouldn't be locked up somewhere in the long term. This is something that you have to do. This is an exercise that you can think about and, do it. It's really helpful for you so you know where every dollar goes. That's important. Matching the right dollars to the right bucket is where the real clarity will come to you. You will be really clear. Oh, this is the money I made. This is the three buckets. This is where I'm going to put it. And this is what I expect those money to work for me. So let me just to put it in example, right? So your spend now money will be, you go to Indian grocers, the kids lunch spend the lunch money, then gas for driving to your, say, dance class for the kids, and your cricket practice for your, I mean, football practice for your kids, and your cell phone. All these things should go into spend now bucket. Your cell phone, your Netflix, your temple donation, your puja, all those things should go into a spend now bucket, because we all know that those things are necessary. You just need it, right? And your save short term, I just want to put it in clear concept. When you think of, I just put it to me so that it applies for you. That's how I look at it. The flights aren't cheap to India, and we all fly at least every other year, if not every year. As you grow older, you will travel every year because your parents have gotten older. So it's something that you want to have it in the safe short term, because we all know that it's your Diwali, your Navratri, your shopping budget, and maybe a fund when relatives visit you. Maybe you need to show them around, and these are things that will go into that safe short term bucket. And the grow long term bucket will be your 401k, your kids 529 college fund, 18 years it has to grow. and building equity in your home, a home thing, all that is very important. So here's a mistake that I see a lot of us in our community do. A family, say, has 50,000 sitting in a savings account. Almost always I've seen this, $50,000 sitting in savings account, doing nothing, almost earning almost nothing, because they feel safe. That's all it is. So meanwhile, they haven't maxed out their 401k, they haven't started a 529 for their kids, and they are essentially letting inflation eat that money. I've seen this. This is happening everywhere. So 50,000 is a large amount of money to just sit not doing any work for you. Someone puts everything into, or I've seen this also, the opposite, where someone puts everything into a stock option that their husband works for. Say they work for a Microsoft or a Google or whatever, Apple. They put everything into their husband's stock option. We don't have to do either. Just think about it, which dollar has to go in which bucket, and plan accordingly. The bucket system will fix this. Keep 3 to 6 months in savings, yes, but the rest needs to be in the right bucket, doing the right job. If you're, I don't know, back in our time, like our parents in India might keep cash at home in FDs and things like that. They did their own way of doing things. So here we just need to update with the tools we have and what we have. That is something that the financial buckets will help. And the this one is emergency fund. I really want to pick on the second bucket that I was talking about. We have an emergency fund there. It's your financial airbag. So we just organized our money into buckets: spend now, spend short term, and grow long term. The second bucket, the short term savings, the most important thing that lives there is your emergency fund. Let's talk about why. Okay. An emergency fund is never going to be your investment. It's an insurance, okay, for your sanity. You just need to remain sane because you're working, you're doing so many things, you don't know what emergency is going to crop up. So that emergency fund in the safe short term is very, very essential. I really want to think of it like a airbag, like an airbag in your car. You hope you never need it, but you're very glad it's always there. So car repair, you don't know when that car repair will come, right? Your medical deductible, you don't know when that's going to spring up on you. Your dance competition travel, your teacher will tell you last minute, hey, we have a competition, we just need to go. She's not going to give you money for that. So you need to come up with that, right? Job transition, you never know what will cause the job transition. These are things that will happen in every one of our lives. It's not like, one will have it. You ask them, they would have had it. They probably planned it, or they're earning way too much money. So the target is usually 3 to 6 months of essential expenses that you keep, from reaching for credit cards. You don't want to take your credit card for that, or selling investments in a worst possible time. So like today, if today you decide you have a medical emergency and you want some money, the markets are up like so much, you will end up paying half of it in tax. What's the point? So we haven't made a plan there. So if you had this emergency fund, it will come in handy and you will pay for it. So it happens, right? My own example, like you will get a call at 11 p.m. from your father or father-in-law back in India saying they fell down, they are hospitalized. You need to fly out tomorrow. Where do you get the money from? It's important that you have saved for this. At least one-way ticket to India these days is to $2,500. So if you and your husband both need to go, then you're looking double that money. So it's very, very important that without an emergency fund, that goes straight on a credit card, which is 24% interest if you're not able to pay it back. So with an emergency fund, it's stressful. It's stressful, but it's not a financial crisis. The crisis is something else. It's like, the emotional crisis, but at least it is not a financial crisis. So on top of all that is happening, we should not have that. That's the goal here for building this emergency fund. Okay, so we all do that, right? You are like, sometimes the visa issues also cost all that to us. Sometimes we have 60 days, no paycheck, no mortgage, things like that. This will help you. This emergency fund isn't just a financial insurance, for migrant families like us. For immigrants, it's literally peace of mind about staying in the country and doing what we like to do. That's one of the things. And then so we've been talking about building an emergency fund, building your savings, building your wealth through compounding. But there's another side of the financial picture we really need to address honestly, and that's debt. Okay. I just told you, emergency fund keeps you from reaching for credit cards at the worst possible moment. Okay. But let's be real. Many of us already carry some debt. And I want to say something important really right up front. Debt is not a character flaw because that's a culture we come from, but it is not a character flaw. It doesn't make you irresponsible. Most of the time, it means life happened. That's all it is. So here's the thing, not all debt is created equal. So some debt drags you down, and some debt can actually help you build. So the difference comes down to two things, cost and purpose. These are the two things you should think about when you're thinking about a debt. High interest debt, credit cards. They carry 18%, 20%, sometimes 25%. I've seen that. That's like trying to walk uphill with a heavy backpack. You don't want to do that. Every month you carry a balance, the interest piles on. If you're not able to pay it up, it piles on. You're working hard just to stay in the same place. This is a kind of debt that keeps people stuck. So, but mortgage, that's not a bad debt. You have a lot of things going on when it puts a roof on your head. A student loan, perhaps just to go and study or do some, college that is going to pay off well. That's not a bad debt. So, like, we have to really think about it as a tool. Money is a tool, and debt can be a tool too. So it's important that you think about that way. As long as the cost is reasonable and it's serving a purpose and builds value in your life, debt is good. So think about debt that way. It doesn't have to be that you want to pay it off everything. Some debts are good. Don't keep high interest debts. So the key the key I really want to drive home is that you should not judge yourself for having a debt because of the cultural thing that we come from. Yeah, our parents back home will say, oh, so much of debt you want to take and buy a house? Yes, because that's the way of life here. We can't do anything. Yes, we have to have a mortgage, we have to pay that. The key is awareness. I want you to be completely aware what your interest rate is, what your purpose is. Ask yourself, is this debt helping me build something? Very important. Ask yourself, is this debt helping me build something, or it's adding weight on my back? That's very important question that you want to think about when you go for a debt, whether it is children's education, whether it is anything for that matter. So you always think about, probably this will stick with you when I say this. You would never walk into a grocery store, right, and pay 20% more for a gallon of milk. Why would you pay 20% more for a gallon of milk? Probably you would say that's ridiculous. I would say too. But that's exactly what we are doing when we carry a credit card balance at 20% interest. It's not any different. It's the same thing. Once you see it that way, the urgency to pay it down clicks into place. When you have a high interest debt, you really don't want it. You want to pay that. That's even more dangerous than anything else that we speak about. So, say Diwali is coming. Okay, I'm just giving you examples because we can relate to that, right? And you want to do it right. You want to bring new outfits for your kids. You want to give families, you want to give gifts to families. You want decorations, you want sweets, maybe all these things, right? So you will end up putting $2,000 on your credit card just like that. You won't be thinking, oh, this is, you're going to think to yourself, I'm going to pay it off next month. It's okay. This is Diwali time. Let me just enjoy. I'm just going to do it. And you'll go shopping spree and do all these things and put $2,000. Then suddenly you'll realize Diwali comes end of year, right? Suddenly you'll realize, oh my God, the car insurance is due now. It just come because that comes every year end. You will see that the car insurance is due, and then suddenly you will see the kids' winter thing has gone down. It's tight for them. They've grown up, and you want to buy a winter coat because this winter is here. So you need to plan that. And then you are like, thinking about all these things that come in your way. It's important that you plan this and keep, say, $100 or $150 put aside and kept for all these things. Next year, hey, this is my Diwali fund. I don't have to overpay with my credit card. Let me do this. So $100, you do it. That's the way to bucket yourself and, build in such a way that you don't have a high interest debt. So let's talk about the good debt. Okay, we spoke about the bad debt. Now let's talk about the good debt. Many of you and your husbands have come here, on student loans, for your master's degree. You want to just, settle down here. Probably it's 30,000, probably it's $50,000, or it is you all came here, did MS in computer science, or you did MD in medicine, or all these things. It's, that it is going to fetch you a six-figure salary later, right? That's why you're doing it. So, but that degree and eventually a green card, that's what we are thinking. We want to settle down. We're going to spend this money on our education. And then we think about the same way when we have to spend money to our kids too. So compare that to carrying $8,000 in store credit card. That is not okay. So you want a furniture shopping when you first moved in. You don't need that. We can think about it. You can do that bucketing and see how you can save and then do it. So that's something for you to think about. Okay, so the next one is this is what I want you to kind of go with. This is my last slide. Money is a skill, not a talent. It can be learned. Skills can be always learned. Everybody tells you it's difficult. No, it's not difficult. It's easy. We are going to do it step by step. That is the goal for this whole series. So we've covered a lot of things. We talked about why money matters specifically for women. We reframed money as a tool, not a feeling. Money should never be a feeling. It's a tool. We looked at inflation. We looked at compounding, how to organize your dollars, how to build an emergency fund, and understanding debt. These are the things we saw today. That's the full foundation for you. Now, here's the part that matters most, what you do next. And I want to take the pressure off right now. You don't need to go home and overhaul your entire financial life tonight. That's not the goal here. Just pick one thing, one action. Maybe it's setting up an automatic transfer to savings or $25 a paycheck and making it as simple as possible. Maybe it's downloading a bank app and actually looking at where your money went in the last month, making a mental note of it. Where all did this money go that I earned so much in the last month with my hard work? Maybe it is just logging into your retirement account first time in a while to check if you're getting that employer match. Where just one thing, that's your homework. Okay, please go do it. This is important. You want to see how much you're spending, what you're doing. And I want to be honest about something. Financial wellness is not a straight line. It is not a straight line. There will be months when you save 25% of your paycheck and feel amazing about it. There will be months where the car breaks down, the kids need something, and you save zero. It's okay. But the thought, the awareness, that's really, really important. Both of those are part of your journey. Whether you save, whether you're not able to because there is something happening, both of those things are part of your journey. Neither one defines you. You're not defined by what you're doing. Also, this is important. Please do not compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. That's important. Do not compare. Somebody is in chapter 20. You're in chapter 1. You will also get there. You will also have the same thing. Just be unemotional about money and do what you need to do. That's important. Okay. Social media, these days, like everyone else is figured out, but they don't. It makes you feel like that. When somebody is posting something, you feel, oh my God, she did so much. No, they have their own struggles. They have their own things going on. I really want you to take away a few things. That money is a skill. It's not a talent. If you give the job to do for that money will do the job. But don't do wrong things with the money. Like, have a proper bucketing system, make the money do its job. That's really important for you. So the goal for us here, this whole thing, enlighten, enrich, empower, is you are moving forward from where you are right now. That's the goal. No comparing, no seeing what we are doing. It's just we want to see that we move forward. Okay. Starting small, actually doing it will beat planning something big and never getting around to it. You may plan, but it'll never happen. The woman who puts 50 a month into an investment account is building more wealth than the one who says, let me start when I have $500 in my hands. That'll never happen. Okay. Imperfect action beats perfect intentions every single time. So please do that. Imperfect, you, even if it is little, start. Your one action could be this. Tonight, after the kids are in bed, sit down with your husband over a little cup of tea and have the money talk. What I spoke to you today, just talk about it. Say the husband will handle most of the investments. I see it. That's why I'm saying it. Probably you're doing it too. So, and maybe the husband needs to know this. In that case, if you are the savvy one, educate your husband, right? Neither one really has the full picture. Ask, what's in your 401k? Are we getting the full employer match? Do we have a 529 for the kids? Is there money sitting in savings that should be invested? The one conversation could be worth thousands of dollars. It's not about control, it's about partnership. Be partners, talk about it. Okay. And about not comparing, I know this is hard in our community. We see one auntie's son got into Stanford, the neighbor just bought a Tesla, your friend's family is going to Europe. All these things for vacation, social media and WhatsApp groups make it worse. So, but you don't know their full story. That's the truth. You really don't know their full story. Maybe they're carrying a 30,000 debt in their credit card. Okay. So maybe their parents helped with the down payment for their home, which we don't have. Some people have. So they're lucky. They get paid, but we don't. So your journey started the day you landed in this country with 2 suitcases and a dream. Okay. That's what I did. So you all did the same thing. You all landed here with 2 suitcases and a dream. Okay. And that's really, really important. Compare yourself to where you were 5 years ago. Okay. That's the important comparison you can make. Where you were 5 years ago, not to someone else's highlight reel. Okay. That's not the point. Where you were 5 years ago, where are you today? That is the concept that you want to do. Money is a skill, not a talent. Skills can be learned. That's why we are all there. We are helping each other to learn the skill. Okay. And when women understand money, believe me, confidence follows. You will be so confident because that is important. You should know what your money is doing for you, right? So, so that brings us to close this foundation course. So I'm here if you want to talk through anything. No question is too small. I'm happy to take anything. So, yeah, I hope this made sense. And next week, we'll talk about public market basics. And I will just give you a highlight about what the public market is in specific. And the next one, I know on the thing I need to talk to my admins about it. So on this on the flyer, I see it is we are going to deep dive. Before that, I want to talk about where is our money held? Show me the money. Where is it held? So that's something that we will talk about. That tax advantaged buckets, like we talk about Roth, your IRA, and all those kind of things. So whatever you think will help you understand finance better, I will be happy to do that little thing. So the goal is give you this kind of inputs, and then we can see how we walk together in this journey. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Questions?
Padma. This was very helpful. And I'm pretty sure all the moms would have found this useful too. We have a question
Mm-hmm.
from Madhu. She's asking, would it be a good idea to put our emergency funds into short-term funds that are easy to sell?
That's that we are going to talk about that when we talk about investments. Now we are talking about buckets. We're talking about the foundation of bucketing your mind. We will be covering that in the next 2 3 sessions where the investments are, and I will definitely talk about where those short term investments should go. Yes, you're thinking along the right lines. That is correct.
Perfect. And a couple of people have asked about sharing the slides. Yes, the recording will be shared on our groups and will also be posted on YouTube for people who have watched it, so you guys can rewatch it. And for people who've missed it, they can watch it at their free time.
Yeah.
And Madhu has a question, has mentioned backdoor Roth IRA.
We can talk about that when we talk about where money is held. Today, we are talking about foundation. I know many of us here probably are advanced, but I want to start this in such a way that, it's simple, people understand, and we go top. We come like, we go bottom up instead of top down. That's the goal here. Just to understand finance, just to understand money is a tool. And then next one, we are talking about public market basics, where we will talk about equity and IPOs and all those kind of things. That's there. But I'm not going to do a deep dive into equities and fixed income until we talk about where the money should be. Okay. Vidya and Babita, just for you to take note. So the third one will be probably where the money is held.
Okay, I'll make any necessary changes. Do we have any more questions, Babita?
No more questions. Everyone is just thanking Padma because
Yes,
it was very helpful, easy to understand for everyone. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
truly.
The
And
goal
that's,
here.
yeah, sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, that is the goal. Easy to understand. From the beginning, when the admins reached out, that has been the goal. That let's keep it simple, no jargons, and we can go from there. Step by step, we can include the jargon so that you also can confidently talk about it.
Perfect. Yes, we've been planning to do this for many years now, and I'm so glad we finally got to it. You've been also
Yeah.
wanting to do this forever. So thank you once again, Padma, for enlightening us with this session. One of our biggest takeaways for many of us today was that every dollar has a job to grow. And definitely, we have to spend, we have to have different buckets to spend now, save short term, and grow long term. I'm
Yeah.
taking notes. Okay, and as moms, many of us, put money in the back burner. So this has been truly enlightening for many of us. A sense of urgency is very real. I've been telling the girls also. I'm really feeling this
Yeah.
sense of urgency to go evaluate how well we have been doing with the money that we have, and is it really allocated in the most efficient way possible. So I think trying to be intentional about this is really helpful. And I think under your guidance and, with you enlightening us, empowering us, and enriching us with this knowledge, I think we are really in very good hands. We are all looking forward to the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say that. But really, I see that in everyday business. That's what I do. Speak to clients, right? So I feel very sad when the clients are in a situation where they come to meet me, especially women, at a very wrong time. They have something has happened in their life, and that's when they pick up the bricks. That's sad because they are not in a state of mind to absorb anything.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm not saying this. See, I don't know how other people react to this, right? So you don't know, so it's better to be aware of what you have. Awareness is the number one goal here.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And that is something that many of us don't seem to, put in the priority list, which I think now most of us are going to, start
Yeah,
concentrating.
later in the talks, I'll also talk about how to organize it, how to have an organizer where you can actually go and pick up everything. That's
Yes,
important. Even
it's
if
very
you don't
important.
have the time, there are doctors that are really busy. There's so many people with busy schedules. They don't have the time sometimes, but you always have a time to make an organizer so that you aware what you have. That's
Yes, I think
important.
that is very important. And that would be very helpful to all the
Yeah.
moms over here.
Yeah, and I will share that folder so that everybody can use it in their personal lives.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Padma. All
Yeah,
right.
no
You
problem.
all, and thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining, and we will see you all next Thursday then. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
my dear
ladies.
admins.